Well, here we are on the top of a hill overlooking Boulder, Colorado. I'm here with Andre with TFL Truck. We are gonna take a little quick small tour in the F-150 lighting. I've never seen it before, so you'll get my first impressions here. Kind of comparing it to the Rivian, but not exactly. I mean, they are two very different things. So let's take a drive.
All right, let's go. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Andre. Thanks for joining me. Okay, today I get my first impressions of the Ford Lightning. I haven't actually ever sat in the Lightning before, and Andre's joining me here from TFL Truck.
Yes.
Thanks, Andre.
And this truck belongs to TFL Truck, but thank you for coming out once again. And we also did the video with your truck, the Rivian R1T.
Yeah, we did a lot of comparisons back and forth, which brings me to my first question for you, Andre, is how do you feel like they compare, generally speaking, like between them, this one, that one?
I definitely think, and I've driven the R1T actually several times now, including drag racing, thanks to you. And I would just say the R1T feels more sporty. It's a little bit more compact, it's more powerful, definitely, and the suspension feel, I mean, in different settings, especially from sport and normal, I think it's so nimble. This truck, even though they weigh about the same, feels a little bit larger. What do you think?
Well, the first thing I noticed is there are a lot of buttons. In fact, I was trying to open the window here to put a camera up there, and I hit the wrong button a couple of times first. But that's okay, right? You know, some people like that. That's definitely a difference between the Rivian and this. There are some buttons that are easily accessible, like this volume button, which is pretty handy. But that's the first thing. Second thing I noticed is it is pretty cozy. It doesn't feel as big as I thought it was going to feel, and there's a lot of room in the back.
So I think noticeably, I think the rear legroom, I mean, if you could see how much space it is.
Yeah, there's clearly another
elbow
foot back
to elbow, what do you think? Is it similar to the Rivian, or is it a little bit bigger?
This is wider for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's, you know, another thing that I really like about it is all the information you get here. And I was thinking we could just take a quick drive down the hill and back.
Sure, yeah.
And you could show me a little bit about that.
So once again, you have multiple screens. All right, you got this 15.5-inch vertical orientation screen.
Yeah.
You have that 12 and some change inch gauge cluster screen. And yeah, I want to see what you think.
Okay, so here we go.
There's a lever for the gears.
Yeah.
Or for drive, I should say.
I also noticed there's no stock right here on the right side, which I was complaining today about the Rivian that the stock doesn't move forward and backward. Well, at least it has one. It feels really nice to drive, and it, like the Rivian, it's pretty smooth on the road here.
So one thing, this is one suspension height, right? Not adjustable. A regular kind of coilover springs and shocks.
So tell me again about what I'm seeing on this regen side of things.
So yeah, speed up just a smidge more.
Okay.
And then you'll see the green at the lower left of that gauge on the left. So it shows you regen right there.
Yeah, that's
the blue bar is the battery level. And then the blue upper left is your kind of power, how much power you're using.
Okay. Well, I mean, generally one of the reasons that I wanted to take a drive is, you know, this is, as we all know, one of the most commonly sold vehicles in America, and now that it's electrified, it really has some potential to be a game changer. Let's give it a little whoa. And with that much torque, I mean, once people actually drive it, they're gonna love it, right?
You think, I mean, how does it compare to the Rivian? I mean, it's not quite as much.
It's pretty similar, actually. I think it's pretty similar. You do feel this a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm not an F-150 owner, so I'm not used to that, but I'm sure people who do own it would be. So it feels fine for that. It's nice. The suspension's nice. I do wish it raised and lowered. And I feel like that's a big deal. I think, in fact, we were talking about this with my wife earlier, that one of the big differences is that, you know, this, you can turn the F-150 on to power your house, and you can use the Rivian to you change the suspension in the Rivian, and I feel like the suspension change is a more frequent use case. So that's one of the reasons. I do wish that the Rivian was able to do vehicle to home power, or vehicle to other vehicle power, which I think might be able to do eventually, but not at the current iteration.
Yeah, you just torque is over here. You can push it forward. What I wanted to mention, you talked about you going off road on the trails, right?
Yeah.
And in the R1T, because you can lift it up, you have more clearance, right? And I think for an active lifestyle, the R1T, in my opinion, may be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Here you have one ride height. You do have a massive skid plates, of course, on the bottom, but you're kind of limited by your front bumper and the kind of your clearance. So if you really wanted to F-150 Lightning to go be a true off-roader,
Right.
rock crawler, you need to modify the
Right.
suspension.
Oh, what's this, Andre?
Hey,
I don't know if I've seen one of those.
hey, you know what? There's one and two.
What?
Two glove boxes, Scott.
Oh, that's funny. I do think that they're just very different trucks in general, and I think they're very well suited for their particular audience demographics.
Yeah.
So I think it works really well. I'm super excited that this is out on the market, and I hope it does really
it's
well.
on sale, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to show you a couple more things. You have some drive modes here, maybe not as many as in the Rivian, but you do have normal and sport and off-road. You do have...
What does off-road change when you select that drive mode? Because if it's not the ride height, is it just the way that the torque
way that
is?
the motors are,
Okay.
torque is distributed. There's also a locking rear differential that came on,
Ah,
and it's an
okay.
actually physical locker. It's
Got it.
engaged, so you can turn it off or on. So it gives you a little bit more traction. Of course, tow haul is a separate mode, and you have your brake controller, which is a physical
Oh, for
unit.
the trailer.
Let's show some cameras right here. So you have several
That's
camera
nice.
views.
Can you access camera? Can you use the cameras while you're driving?
Yes, they did change that, because in the standard F-150 you didn't used to be able to,
Yeah.
but now
'Cause
you
that's
can
nice.
also
Particularly
monitor.
if you're towing a trailer.
Yeah, you can monitor
Yeah,
your
that's
hitch.
great.
Yeah,
So that's what I used before, which was really nice in the Rivian, that you could watch behind you.
yeah, and there's a console here, right? So it's kind of
Oh,
deep.
that's sizable
It's kind of deep.
and, and useful.
We've got gloves, and this is kind of what a standard,
Yeah, and
you
then
know,
it flips out.
F-150.
And then how do you put this thing
you
away?
push that down. So,
That's clever. And this is useful. And you know, yeah, this is a work truck and all, but I see this as a dad, and I think, oh yeah,
Lunch.
this is where we have lunch while we're driving.
Total lunch.
Of course, I also see my daughter climbing all over that and breaking it, but maybe
Yeah.
it's durable
Well,
enough.
actually, I don't think they'll allow you to drive this way, because
Oh.
you need to control the gears.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah, that's true. You'd have to have the.
But if you
the
stop for
stock up.
lunch, this is definitely a lunch stop.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But you know, this really isn't. I don't intend to sort of compare them apples to apples, because they're not both apples, and they're just very different, and I appreciate them both for what they are. Well, anyway, that's great. Thank you so much. Lots of buttons, but it's a great truck.
Yeah.
Thanks for your tour, Andre. I really appreciate it. Well, thanks for watching my little brief walkthrough of the F-150 Lightning. I'm back in the Rivian now. It does feel a little smaller, I think, which is kind of interesting after driving the F-150, which didn't necessarily feel too big. It just feels different. So thanks for watching again. See you in the next one. Okay, there's the Lightning. Foot on the brake. Left foot on the brake. Oh no! Oh, you can still take it. Even got
Didn't
a
even do
slow
launch
start
control,
on
right?
that one.
Yeah, that was not the best start, and yeah, we still had no problem.
Oh, that was fun.